Canadian foreign minister, or whatever formal title is, meeting with Jaishankar. It's interesting because there's been a lot of these ministerial meetings between West and India over, well, particularly this year. What's going on? Clearly, there is, again, a bit of an agenda here because we've had Starmer just only last week visiting Modi. That's a very rare occasion. That was certainly his first visit to India. We've had Jaishankar visiting our own Foreign Secretary just recently, Yvette Cooper, again for these sorts of talks, and likewise in Canada. And likewise in India, in the United States. Jaishankar was in the United States recently. So there's this huge move, whatever you want to call it. Something's going on where the West is deliberately reaching out at ministerial level to all their counterparts in India. And there's been this big cluster of meetings. In other words, there must be a reason why all our ministers in the West are meeting with their equivalents in India so frequently in recent days. It literally may just be something as simple as it's suddenly we need to build these trade deals. We recognise that India is, of course, this massively growing market. We all want to do trade deals. But why suddenly are all these Western nations meeting as a cluster, their Indian counterparts? The timing I find interesting. As I say, it may just be just a mutual drive that everybody in the West said, look, okay, let's all get together, let's really push India. But also there could be this geopolitical aspect to this, which I think is probably likely, is that the Five Eyes nations have said, look, we're worried about India, we're worried about which direction it's going in. We need to increase our relations with India. Let's, as a combined unit, as a combined Western unit, let's all do a friendly assault on India. Let's try and build the ties with India all jointly, just so that we can build relations and therefore seduce India away from its increasing alliance with Russia and potentially China as well. So it may well be that. It may well be something as innocent as that. Or is there something else going on? We don't know. But as I said, we had the change of government in Canada with Carney coming in. We know Carney's credentials are very different to Trudeau's, particularly with his attitude towards India. We know Trump's attitude. Well, actually, do we know Trump's attitude towards India? Pick your interpretation. But yeah, you could probably argue both sides on that, as indeed our audience have. Starmer's attitude towards India is very clear. He's made it very clear. He all he's interested in is trade deals at the expense of human rights, at the expense of the Sikh community. So, but yeah, James, I find that story particularly interesting, that there is clearly a huge diplomatic and governmental ministerial front going on to try and build relations with India. The question is why. I find that very interesting.